Finding your way in any new profession should be an exciting and challenging time, a period to learn new skills, gain fresh knowledge and develop a new professional identity. It is also, however, the time when you are most likely to make mistakes due to your lack of relevant experience and the limitations of your knowledge. And this lack of working knowledge is often not fully appreciated by the newcomer, and this can then place them at risk of failure or litigation. So, what can be done about the situation? And is mentoring the answer? Hello, I'm David Pestridge of White Hat Marine Surveying, located in the beautiful county of Devon here in the United Kingdom. My mission is to help people understand boats better. In this video I'm going to take a look at mentoring, what it is, what it aims to achieve, and to offer some suggestions on how you might go about it. This is aimed primarily at the marine surveying profession, but has direct relevance to any technically based profession, such as construction, maintenance or engineering, which is my professional background. In common with a lot of industries, marine surveying deals with high value vessels, structures or cargoes, and these need regular inspection to confirm their condition. These inspections need to be built around an effective survey routine, followed by the application of a professional thought process that allows for reasonable conclusions to be drawn. When this routine fails to identify critical problems, or the conclusions drawn turn out to be unreasonable, legal action frequently follows. This is why it is critical that marine surveyors have professional indemnity or PI insurance. Since I started surveying boats in 2008, the insurance industry for marine surveyors has become a much more challenging place. The willingness of clients to pursue litigation has increased in line with the rest of society, and the expectation that the professional output of surveyors needs to protect, in the eyes of the law, those with less knowledge who rely on their services has increased. As a result, it has become harder for newly qualified marine surveyors to obtain PI insurance at the start of their careers. Indeed, some insurers now stipulate that inexperienced surveyors must be mentored by a more experienced surveyor whilst they develop their skills. Along with sharing some ideas with you about what mentoring should look like and what it should deliver, I'd very much like to find out about the obstacles you have met on your learning journey as a marine surveyor. What were the initial challenges you faced? How did you overcome them? And in hindsight, what advice would have been most useful to you? Drop me a comment down below. Right then, let's get down to business. Let's start with, what do we mean by mentoring? Now, there are many definitions of mentoring which each have their place in varying industries and circumstances. Based on my experience, mentoring is a relationship whereby mentor and mentee each recognise the need for professional development, to build skills and to transfer knowledge. It is a means to help the new surveyor avoid the many common pitfalls that trip up the inexperienced newcomer. It also seeks to give them a leg up and help them get past the first few years of poor performance as quickly as possible. I regularly look back at my first survey reports and the notes I took at the time to help me appreciate how far I have come in my profession. My survey checklist was 12 pages long in 2008 and it now stands at 19 pages. This periodic reviewing also serves to remind me that whilst I thought I was starting my career from a strong academic and professional engineering background, there were still a lot of things I didn't know I needed to know. This firmly branded the phrase, "every day is a school day," in my mind, and it's something I seek to recognise as I continue my learning journey as a marine surveyor. This idea of identifying things you don't know, or the concept of unknown knowns, has been accredited to former US Secretary of State for Defence Donald Rumsfeld in a speech he gave in 2002, later referred to as the Rumsfeld Matrix. It is based on the Johari window, an idea developed by two psychologists, Joseph Luft and Harrington Ingham, earlier in the 20th century. It was a tool designed to help people better understand their relationship with themselves and those around them, an inwards-looking view compared to Rumsfeld's outward-looking view. Here is my interpretation of those ideas in relation to marine surveying. The contents of the yellow unknown knowns box are the most problematic for the new surveyor, as these are the things known by others in the industry but not yet learnt by the newcomer. And this is where a lack of knowledge or experience quickly reveals itself, placing the surveyor at risk of, at best, mild embarrassment and at worst, legal action, following the injury or death of others relying on the surveyor's advice. The process of continued learning will help to identify things in the unknown knowns box and what needs doing to move them into the green known knowns box. Left to their own devices, this process takes the form of learning through mistakes, which places the surveyor at continued risk. And the purpose of mentoring is to help the new surveyor identify more quickly the contents of the unknown knowns box which relate to them, and to take action to move these things into the known knowns box without the embarrassment of making mistakes and the risk that brings. Let's now take a look at why mentoring matters. I regularly see negative comments on yacht and narrowboat chat forums regarding the utility or quality of marine surveyors, mainly from existing boat owners. And there are many surveyors practicing in the UK and probably in other countries today who are either not qualified in any meaningful way or are not members of any relevant professional body. Many of them do not fully realise how poor they are at their trade, and this reduces the esteem in which all surveyors are held. An attitude I've come across throughout my professional career, both as an engineer and more recently as a marine surveyor, is that mentoring new entrants to the profession will somehow inevitably lead to them taking work from you. I believe strongly that this is a false premise and one that should be discouraged. If one helps a new surveyor to become a better surveyor than he or she currently is, then one has done the industry a benefit as well as the individual. If we all work to raise the standard of marine surveying amongst all surveyors, then the perception of the industry as a whole can only improve. Then, if after a few years the newer surveyor starts to take local work from the older surveyor, then the more experienced surveyor should probably be asking themselves a few honest questions. Are they keeping up to date with their own professional development? Have they become stale and lost the love for their trade? Have their client management skills become a bit rusty? If one is being blunt, it is natural for the good new growth to start pushing out the older dead wood. Only the very best surveyors will endure and make a full career of it. To make the choice to not mentor new surveyors, however, is in my mind akin to climbing the professional ladder and then kicking it away. I was very fortunate to have been mentored for 5 years by the late John Bowen, ex-Royal Navy captain, engineer and surveyor of modern and vintage Dutch barges for nearly 50 years. John's mentoring style was blunt, accurate and effective. I recall him asking me one day, "Who are you writing your report for?" To which I replied, "Well, my client, of course, John." To which came the very speedy retort, "No, you stupid boy, you're writing it for the judge." By which he meant the ultimate arbiter of the quality of any survey report is the judge in a court of law. You may have heard that a surveyor lives or dies by their reports, and this truism is the foundation of an effective and successful surveying career. Under John's mentorship, my survey technique and report writing improved dramatically, and over time his red ink pen got used less and less as my survey technique, thought process and writing style and content all improved. The key point here is that with effective mentoring, this new surveyor improved more quickly than they might have done if left to themselves. When I began surveying, I thought my academic qualifications, professional background and work ethic would be enough to start me off at a pretty good standard. I was pleased with the quality of my surveys and the reports I wrote. Only with hindsight do I realise how much I sucked at the time. With a few years of practice and some quality mentoring along the way, I'm pretty confident I suck a lot less than I did, but I'm also 100% certain I still have plenty to learn in this fascinating trade. So, let's now look at what mentoring can do for you. There are several approaches to mentoring which can be used to build an effective relationship between mentor and mentee. These have varying degrees of contact time and overall effectiveness. In my mind, the most effective form of mentoring is done face-to-face, with work shadowing and work oversight. It builds on the simple EDIP training model: explanation, demonstration, imitation, practice, in which mentor explains to mentee, mentee watches mentor, mentee copies mentor, mentor watches mentee, and then repeat. This is the most effective method for rapidly improving survey routine, defect identification and the investigative discipline required when surveying. By its very nature, both parties are best located within the same region for this relationship to be effective. This is in part the reason for such resistance to this form of mentoring we mentioned earlier. The mentor needs to have either a strong philanthropic streak to bring on their possible replacements, or there needs to be some form of financial recompense for their time and expertise. The next best thing to face-to-face mentoring is to have a mentor regularly read and critique your survey reports. Through analysis, it's normally easy to identify areas of the survey routine that lack detail, tests that should have been done, and conclusions that should have been drawn. This is the most useful exercise and really helps develop both survey routine and report writing. Through my work with the International Institute of Marine Surveying, I'm very privileged to read many surveyors' reports when assessing membership upgrade applications. I found that giving a report some thorough analysis and then communicating my comments and recommendations, on average, takes me about 2 hours per report. A third form of mentoring one might consider is remote mentoring. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, we've all become much better at video conferencing using any of the several platforms available. This form of mentoring combines elements of face-to-face mentoring and report critiques, but relies upon the mentee taking good notes during the online conversation. It can involve sharing photos of defects, looking at survey routines and talking through report writing. Whilst possibly the least effective of the mentoring frameworks listed here, it's also the best for keeping some distance between the mentor and mentee's area of operation. It's probably worth mentioning at this point reverse mentoring. This is more often found in hierarchical organisations such as the military or government agencies. It's where a more senior ranking individual is mentored by a junior ranking but more experienced individual. It can be a very effective way of getting new team leaders up to speed quickly and to equip them with the ground truth given by an experienced team member in that team. Given the many benefits mentoring can bring to any industry, why is it seemingly so rare in the marine surveying world? I think the main problem in getting senior surveyors to mentor newer surveyors is the perceived issue regarding competition that we discussed earlier. I think there are two pathways that can help alleviate or reduce this reluctance. The first could be to formalise mentoring as a part of one's professional development, both as a junior and as a senior surveyor. It would be a prerequisite for any newly qualified surveyor to seek mentoring to develop their skills and knowledge quickly. For the senior surveyor, the award of member or fellow status in any given organisation should require a proven history of mentoring newer surveyors. The kudos that comes with becoming a member or fellow can only be realised if one has already contributed to the development of other surveyors. The enhanced professional recognition is the reward. An alternative approach is to monetise the process of mentoring through a payment scheme whereby the newer surveyor pays for the mentor's support and advice on an hourly basis and money becomes the reward. Of course, this could be problematic should the newer surveyor make some serious error whilst under the senior surveyor's tutelage. One approach that I have seen work is that the client's survey and report all remain the mentee's responsibility throughout, and that the mentor's support and advice is given for a 10 to 20% commission of the survey fee. This protects the mentor to a degree and allows the mentee to engage their mentor on an as and when basis. Of course, the answer may well be a bit of both, as not everyone will have the skill set to teach and mentor effectively. Some experienced surveyors will have a sufficiently philanthropic personality to do it because they know it to be a good thing. Others may be more financially driven. Mentoring can and should be a key component of the learning journey of any newly qualified surveyor, to quickly enable them to clear the troublesome first couple of years, build their experience with support and guidance, and reducing the content of the yellow unknown knowns box as quickly as possible. I personally think mentoring should also be a key component of a senior surveyor's development pathway in their chosen profession. Only then can a professional trade body rightly claim to develop its new surveyors with a through-life pathway from student to mentee to mentor. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new, then why not support the channel and buy me a beer using the link down below. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.